Happy 4th of July if you are from the United States again, and we have another video about the US Tech Tree. Hello guys, once again it's Matt. Thank you all the members and patrons. Make sure to subscribe, and I wanted to actually do a second special video talking about what are 5 aircraft that should have already been added to the US Tech Tree. Yes, the US Tech Tree is one of the more complete ones. So it's even hard to actually find gaps that need to be filled. Of course, there's always a lot of them, you know, here and there. Doesn't matter what nation and what rank it is. But here are 5 jets that I think should already be in the game since we are in the 4th of July. And to commemorate that, let's talk a little bit about these aircraft, okay? So we start a little bit slow, okay, nothing too crazy. The F-86H, guys, I have no idea why this aircraft wasn't added before, and honestly, I really do believe that it should be in the game. I already talked about this aircraft in another video, but shortly, it is basically the evolution of the F-86F2, okay? It would have the 4 20mm, and of course, finally, a Sabre for the US that has AIM-9 Bs, right? I know it's kind of a late request, but it's been a while since what? I don't know, 2018 maybe or something like that. That people have been asking for a better F-86 or a production model F-86, right? And even later, when missiles got added, an F-86 with AIM-9s for the US, which is literally one of the only nations that use the F-86 that don't have an F-86 with AIM-9s, right? So to complete that, I still believe that it should be added. It doesn't bring anything too different. It would be very similar to something like the F-86F2, okay? But that idea of having the 2 AIM-9s would be very cool. For the second aircraft is the A-10C. Yes, we have the Su-25T, and then we got the Su-25 SM3, and we don't have the A-10C yet. We just have the A-10A. Is it really needed? Well, not really. I mean, that's the thing, right? The US has a lot of CAS aircraft, or aircraft that are very good at multi-rolling, right? But I guess the F-80, the A-10 is one that is beloved by many, and of course the C variant should be in the game since we already have the Su-25 SM3, as I said, right? This would include not too much of a difference in the sense of how the aircraft flies and everything, but of course you would actually bring a lot of modernizations to it. Better missiles like the AIM-9M, for example, or even better depending on the year that they added, but of course the AIM-9M would be the best out there right now for it. Better Mavericks, better bombs, maybe using the JDAM finally. Stuff like that could all be, you know, added to the A-10 and actually bring a top tier or close to top tier attacker similar to the Su-25 SM3 in comparison, right? It would make a lot of sense. And although not a big deal, you know, a lot of people would love that thing as well. For the third position, we have an aircraft that not a lot of people talk about, the F-111, but of course we already have the F-111A. But what about more modern versions? I still believe that that version is very old, and although it is, you know, in there, like in the BR that it is right now, it's pretty alright and stuff. It can do well. It is probably one of the lowest like ranked aircraft to actually have a missile warning system, right? So it is pretty good. But the thing is, that tech tree just wraps it up at 10.3, that like line of the tech tree, right? So I think it deserves a little bit more in the 12 point plus, you know, BRs, or even at least 11 point something. And an F-111, modernized F-111 would be basically that. It would be somewhat similar, of course it's still the same aircraft, but it would bring a lot of new stuff, new radars, new avionics, and especially new weapon systems, especially in the air-to-air role, but of course even in the air-to-ground with stuff like the guided bombs, for example, or something like that. Obviously it would be the F-111E, right, or the F-111 F as well, both of them. For the fourth position, obviously I had to talk about it, the F-14D, guys. I still think that the F-14 has a place of being added in another variant, and this one would actually carry the A-1020. Yes, it never saw service with this missile, but they did fire this missile and test it a little bit, so technically it could use, and it would be the last breath of air that the F-14 would actually take. You know, it would be basically the same aircraft as the F-14B, performance-wise. You know, the main difference would be the radar itself, that comes from a radar on a technology somewhat similar to the technology on the F-15E. So it's much more much more modern than the AWG-9, but still, you know, it would carry modernized weaponry as well. So finally an F-14 with an AU-9M, for example, of course with the Sparrow, but obviously Phoenixes as well, and maybe if Gaijin actually wants it, they can actually add the M120 to it. Again, they never saw service with this missile, but they did test the missile, and I guess it would be like reasonable to actually have an F-14D with that missile, to have a little bit of a difference between the original one and the stuff. So it would be very, very cool to see that. I don't know if it should come after or before or whatever, like an F-18 or something like that, but it should definitely come after the F-14B, right? And the final aircraft that I wanted to talk about is obviously the evolution of the F-14, which is the F-18. I still believe this aircraft is missing. I think it is the pinnacle of the Navy line. You know, it should be on top of it. You know, I don't know if it should be added as, you know, the main fighter of the F-14 line or in the AV-8B plus line. Gaijin can add in either or, you know. But at the end of the day, the F-18 should be added. It would be like basically the same as the aircraft that we already have in the game in terms of performance, missiles, radars, everything like that. So it's nothing too OP to be added. It would have an amazing dogfighting capability. Maybe not the greatest top speed, but it would be fast as well. Mach 1 plus easily. So in the normal gameplay, it would be alright. And of course, in the air-to-air role and in the air-to-ground role, it's very, very complete, and probably the most complete aircraft that the US could actually have in the terms of weapon systems, right? So, of course, the A variant initially only used the Sparrows and stuff, but actually later with the C model and even some nations with upgrades on the A model could actually take the M120. So you would take those. You can take the Mavericks, you can take the GBUs, you can take anti-ship missiles, anti-radiation missiles, whatever Gaijin wants to add it, right? So it is the final aircraft that I think for the trinity of the 4th gen of the 90s that the US had, right? With the F-16, F-15 and the F-18 being the main aircraft between the forces in the US, right? So this is my opinion on what are 5 aircraft that I think are needed. Not needed, needed is a very strong word, right? But aircraft that should be in the US Tech Tree no matter what, right? Let me know in the comments what is your 5 list for it. If you are in the US, if you are native from there, I wish you a happy Independence Day. We have ours in September here in Brazil, so it's a big deal here as well. So I understand that a lot of people are commemorating right now. So stay safe out there, and I see you guys on the next one. Subscribe. Bye.